So we all know Ethereum, right? The undisputed #2 right behind Bitcoin. And lately, Ethereum Classic, the fork of Ethereum, has been getting a lot of attention. So in today's video, we're going to talk about Ethereum Classic. And before that, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of my 5,000 subscribers. Thank you for every like and every comment. Really appreciate the love, guys. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So we're going to talk about Ethereum Classic. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up and comment down below, because among everybody who's commenting and liking, I'm giving away a small amount of Litecoin every day. And I would say now, let's get started. So as you can see, the market cap isn't doing anything spectacular today. Pretty much we're in this kind of sideline movement, nothing special, but still it increased a bit. And as you can see today, we have quite a nice day. Z Classic getting a airdrop from Bitcoin Private, received some traction, and Ucash going down. But now let's talk about Ethereum Classic, guys. And keep in mind that whatever I say in this video, it's only my personal opinion and not actual financial advice. So what are we going to take a look at? First of all, a little overview. First of all, we're going to take a look at the DAO event, which was pretty much the reason why Ethereum was forked in the first place. So we're going to take a look at the history of Ethereum Classic, if you can call it history, because it's only like 2 years old. Then we're going to take a look at the market cap of Ethereum Classic, price movement. Then at the Callisto tweet, because as you know, the reason why Ethereum Classic got so much attention is because a so-called Callisto, so-called Callisto network is being launched on Ethereum Classic. And we're going to take a look at the tweet that caused all of this, the goals of Callisto, the roadmap, what they are trying to do, and then some pros and cons of Ethereum Classic and, of course, of Ethereum. So did you know that Ethereum is actually a fork? Who would have thought? Actually, Ethereum Classic is the real Ethereum, and Ethereum, as we know it today, is the fork. But let's start from the beginning. So the DAO event. So DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization on the Ethereum network, and it raised $150 million to start the first Ethereum fund. So similar to the Bitcoin fund, in order for institutional money to safely invest into Ethereum. So that was back in May 2016. And then what happened was that some con artist, some hacker, some person hacked 50 million in Ether from that project. Now, due to the smart contracts function in the DAO, he could not move this money just like he wanted. He was stuck with it for 28 days. And that's, of course, an ass saver for everybody on the Ethereum blockchain, because they had time to think about what should we do. Some of them said, guys, we have to stay true to the code. We had a little debate, and people say, the hardcore Ethereum guys were like, code is law. We made the system by ourselves. If something goes wrong, it's our fault, and we have to live with it. And of course that sucks, but that's what we're gonna do. And others were saying, nah, guys, you know what? Let's just fork this out and leave the sinking boat and like make whatever was stolen unusable. And the people who were for a fork is everybody who's today on Ethereum, including Vitalik Buterin, and Ethereum Classic is pretty much the original blockchain. So since then, the community of Ethereum is kind of some of the community are in Ethereum, some are in Ethereum Classic. Although of course the Ethereum community is so much bigger than the Ethereum Classic community. I'm not saying that each of one of them is wrong or right. All I'm saying is that I can understand both parties. Ethereum was like, okay, we have to erase this error. This can't be happening. We have to fork. And Ethereum Classic was like, no, we have to live with the consequences of the code because code is law. So I can understand both parties. And as we can see, this is the Ethereum Classic price chart, and we can see since July 24th, Ethereum Classic has been listed on CoinMarketCap. And back then, the price at the beginning for Ethereum Classic in July 2016 was 75 cents. Now, what's so interesting, in my opinion, on forks is that you have a certain coin, for example, 1 Ethereum, and you get 1 Ethereum Classic. 1 Ethereum Classic, say at the beginning, it's 75 cents. So you get pretty much money for free. And you would expect for people to, as soon as they get money for free, to instantly sell it and to make a profit, because even though it's not a big profit, it's better than nothing. And there's a little paradox if you think about it. So even though they could make a profit, they're speculating that their value could increase, and they're holding on to their cryptocurrency in the hope of something happening. And that's pretty much what happened with Ethereum Classic. So as you can see here, the red box that I have highlighted here is the 8th of February, and that is also when the Callisto tweet was made, and that's, as you can see, when price really start to move. So we can see here that we almost reached $36. Currently, Ethereum Classic is sitting at 34.2, but Ethereum at the peak was at $46.5. So still away from its all-time high, but definitely a huge rally. And as you can see on the 8th of February, on their official Ethereum Classic account, the developers announced that Callisto is coming, and the things that I'm going to say in the next 2 slides are going to be quoted directly from the posts that the developers made. So Callisto's primary goal is to boost the growth and the adoption of Ethereum Classic as a community and as a platform. Such as important goals for us, we have research, define and develop reference implementation and cold staking protocol, built-in governance system and self-funding mechanism, improve the security level of the whole Ethereum Classic and Callisto ecosystem with official auditing team and secure contracts registry, and research experimental possibilities of scaling and cross-chain interaction. These are the roadmap goals. So in Q1 2018, they want to launch the test network, which is done. They want to create a public infrastructure for developers. It is also done. And update Classic Ethereum network with Callisto network support. Done. Q2 2018, they want to update Classic Mass with Callisto network, research the proof of stake and DPoS protocol implementation possibility. And now we're going to get to the pros and cons of Ethereum Classic. So the team of Ethereum Classic consists of a team of 6 people, which is Ethereum Classic team, and plus 8 people who are working at Cardano on Ethereum Classic. So something that you should know, because maybe some of you guys know that Charles Hoskinson, the CEO of Cardano, actually used to be the CEO of Ethereum back in 2013. Now, what are the pros and cons of Ethereum Classic? So first of all, we have the pros. Of course, they were like, you know what, we got hacked, but code is law, so we have to stay true to our philosophy. And I think what shows, such a such a self-confidence into the philosophy than actually sticking through a $50 million hack. Amazing right there. And so you can't, one day we're going to reach the cap of 210 million Ethereum Classics, so there probably won't be any inflation. Plus, as I said earlier, code is law, so whatever gets coded into Ethereum Classic stays that way. Cons, of course, are that they are without Vitalik Buterin and Gavin, who were the CEOs at Ethereum, and there's a lack of use cases. So you're probably aware that many ICOs nowadays are ESG20 tokens. They are based on the Ethereum blockchain, use Ethereum, but there are so many ICOs out there that are using Ethereum, but as you know, I'm working the whole day with Ethereum, with cryptocurrencies, and I have yet to hear from a cryptocurrency that is using actually Ethereum Classic. So it's kind of a lack of use cases. Then when it comes to Ethereum, of course we have the biggest pro. It's the biggest cryptocurrency right after Bitcoin. There's still huge growth potential in Ethereum, and I'm a firm believer in Ethereum. I think that Ethereum is amazing, and I think that the smart contracts have the potential to improve the economical life in, you know, the everyday life so much. And of course, there are big companies that are actually using Ethereum. So quite big pros and cons are, of course, the bailout at DAO. Now, who knows if they're going to do a bailout like that one more time? I'm not saying that, you know, Ethereum is sketchy, but just you have to be aware of everything. Plus, of course, Ethereum is uncapped, so there might be some inflation one day. Now, I think the most important question for most people right now is, should you get involved in Ethereum Classic? My personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, keep in mind, is that I would not get into Ethereum Classic because just because you're going to get an airdrop, it doesn't mean that you will get, you know, it's free money. There's not a lot that, you know, Callisto doesn't sound like the next amazing project on the blockchain. And in my opinion, it's not worth just getting Ethereum just for that. I mean, Ethereum Classic. But I mean, some people maybe have too much money and they're like, oh, whatever, I'm going to gamble on it. So if you want to gamble on it, then go ahead. But in my opinion, I would not get into it, especially because it's far away. I mean, because it's not far away from the last all-time high. So avoid getting into certain cryptocurrencies when they're around a all-time high, because you're most of the time really not doing a very smart business move. And those are just my 2 cents on that. So I kind of feel like I'm obligated towards my viewers to warn them and give them good advice. So those are just my 2 cents on it. But if you have another opinion, if you disagree or agree, let me know in the comment down below, because as you know, among everybody who's commenting, I'm giving away a small amount of Litecoin. But keep in mind that currently I don't have any Litecoin in my giveaway wallet, so I'll have to do the giveaways in Hitherdo. But I have, you know, you can trust me, I always did that if I had any issues with the wallet, and I'm going to do it one more time. So very, very sorry for the inconvenience. But in any case, thank you so much for your attention. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up and invest responsibly. Friends, cryptocurrencies are very exciting, but still a very speculative asset. So when you want to invest into cryptocurrencies, be aware that it can be you know, it can grow very, very fast. It can be gone very fast. So be aware of it. That's speculative, and be responsible when you're investing. We're all adults, and if you're not an adult, then you shouldn't invest in all. So like the video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and hit that notification bell if you want to get notified, and share the video with friends and families who want to learn more about cryptocurrencies. So I guess that's it for today. That's my opinion on Ethereum Classic. I hope you know what Ethereum and what Ethereum Classic is. Good luck trading, and see you next time. Bye bye.